Welcome to my channel. My name is Ada, your online therapist. Welcome to Psych 101. We talk about psychology and the interesting aspects of the human behavior. So guys, how are you doing today? What an interesting time to be here. What a year. I mean, congratulations on the election. Like, we have so many historic things happening right now in terms of the amount of people that turn out for votes. The first first female president, and then the first woman of color vice president, I beg your pardon. So that's like so many things right there, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, people voted, albeit our president is not having it. I mean, it sucks to lose, I know, but at least lose with a bit of dignity. They call it sportsmanship in sports. So guys, let's get into today's topic, which is confirmation bias. Now, as simple as the name states, you only want information that confirms your bias. I know it's like when you have two sides who argue passionately for their points, it's like, you're both right, but what are we going to do? You know, it's like, okay, pro-Trump, pro-Biden, they have serious points that need to be considered. But we can only have one president, and it has to come where the majority votes on who has their priorities covered the most. So let's talk about confirmation bias, because why am I visiting confirmation bias and why am I doing this series? Because this is a series, so I'm gonna change, I'm gonna update the topic, the title. You know, this is a series where we're talking about the psychology of belief systems. I'm a Christian by religion, but I'm more spiritual. I'd like to consider myself as a spiritual person, because I believe there's so much we can learn without the hindrances and the obtrusive and obstructiveness of religion, whether it's the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, or Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever religion. You know, one thing that we can all say we're connected to is being spiritual. So why am I talking about confirmation bias? Well, say we were to tell, an atheist was to tell a Christian that the 50% of the Bible is really not true. And somebody else comes to tell a Christian that the other 50%, I have such strong facts about them. Would you change your religion because 50% of what you believe in is not true? No. Naturally, we will not. We do not like to see ourselves wrong. We do not like to admit that we're wrong, because it's human nature. We detest being chastised. We detest being cast out or cast off or reprimanded. You name it. We just want to be liked. We want to be loved. We want to be part of the circle. This is why people will die and live by their cliques. This is why people want to be part of clubs, you name it. The idea that we are social animals is so ingrained in our psyche. It's evolutionary, okay guys? So why do we hold on to wrong things? Okay, this is it. Nobody likes to be told that 20 years plus 25, 20, 50 years of their life is wrong. It's hard stuff. That is some serious mentally obstructing information. Imagine telling someone that their pastor is a rapist. Good luck convincing that crowd. I mean, he's a holy man. He's a man above the fray. He's a great pacifier, mediator. He's everything. He helped them through school. He helped them with work. He helped them with their marriage. How does that kind of person become a rapist? So they simply only take information that confirms that he's a good guy. Did he rape somebody? Yes. See, the beauty that I hope we will someday discover, or multiply, because we have discovered it, I have discovered it, as human beings, is the whole does not have to be perfect. You see, there's a powerful statement which Maya Angelou re-echoed from the original author, and it says, "I'm human, and nothing human is alien to me." We'd like to only take the parts of, oh, you can be an astronaut, you can be a writer, you could be a vocalist, a composer, a physicist, you can be a mathematician, a doctor, a nurse, you could be anything you want to be, if it's good. But we can also be on the other side. You could be a serial killer, you could be a rapist, you could be a murderer, right? Because who are doing these things, they are human beings, right? So understanding how we evaluate information, just like when you're growing up, all the experiences you had as a child is stored right up here, believe it or not. But the brain does not let you have access to all that so that you don't go into shock or information overload and pass out. Yes, but experiences that are especially traumatic or especially important, like they give you great joy, these experiences are ingrained in your memory because you visit them frequently. Okay? Any memory that you visit frequently gets ingrained in your memory. Albeit, here's the interesting thing, our brains trick us because we kind of shape it. It's like an amoeba. We shape it every time we visit that memory. So it's like a hard drive. You know, it deteriorates. Our brains don't deteriorate because we visit memory, but the memory quality deteriorates every time we visit it. Okay? Because we change it. We want it to either be really gruesome or really great. So talk about great love stories or terrible breakups. Every time you revisit a great love story, it looks even better this time around. And every time you revisit a horrible breakup, it looks even more dire, even more sinister this time. So that's the thing our brain does. Let's go back to confirmation bias. And why am I talking about it in psych of belief system, the psychology of religion or belief system? Because I'm talking about the psychology with regard to religion. Now, dabbling into the religion is a very, very sensitive area because a lot of people do not want to be told that their religion is the wrong one. A lot of leaders, religious people, do not want to be told that their religion doesn't have the right practice. You know, the Christian will always, there's some strong Christians, fanatical Christians that will tell you anyone who's not a Christian is going to hell. Yes. And there's some Muslims that tell you a woman who doesn't do this is, you know, like this is haram for a woman. This is haram for a man. This is undoable. A woman's face must never be seen. You know, and there are those who will interpret the Quran and tell you it was invented for her protection, you know, based on the society at the time, based on the prevalent security troubles, fears at the time. You know, the story goes that the slave women were being attacked because of the kind of garments they wore out at night to relieve themselves. But the women from the wealthy homes had an overcoat. So when criminals saw women with the coat, they knew to avoid them because a man, or the men of the family would fight for them and she would be able to identify him. Okay? And the slave women, once they noticed she didn't have the coat, she belonged to no man. And she was easy target. So when the Prophet Muhammad was asked what to do, he says all women should wear the same outfit. Of course, there was outrage. Why would a slave woman and a free woman have the same, you know, freedom, the same rights, the same protection? This is human nature. We are so hierarchical that even within family dynamics, within siblings, within parents, within couples, between couples, and within homes. We are strongly social and strongly hierarchical that if you don't take into cognizance these biological, these natural tendencies, you will be fighting against nature. And the biggest fight you can lose is the fight against your nature. Understand the nature. That's what we always say. Understand nature and understand the arrangements that you need to make to accommodate it so that it doesn't affect your life. But you see, you working against nature is the fastest way to be extinct. And talking about extinction, guys, your openness to information is your ticket to survival. And why do I say so? An ignorant human being is a human being facing extinction because the things you believe in now and hold on to dearly, if you do not evolve with the times, if you do not change, Darwin's natural selection is only bound to happen. Not only do you lose economic resources, you also lose physical resources, you lose material resources, you lose social resources. There are so many things that you lose when you do not adapt. People say it all the time at work. Adapt, adapt, adapt and live. Adapt and thrive. Okay? The plants and animals that live in the desert compared to the ones that live in the Amazonian forest. They're animals, they're creatures, but they have had to adapt to their environment. The human being's adaptation is knowledge. That's why even the Christian Bible says, my people suffer for lack of knowledge. Oftentimes, it's like the belief system, if more religious people embrace science for its true nature, not for its, what's the word? Just everything has extremism, okay? There are extreme parts of science that say there is no God. And there are some scientists who say they do not believe in the Christian God or the Islamic God, but the precision of the things on earth gives them that belief. A lot of the things in the Bible have underlying meanings. It's too much work to have to recreate a new person. But you see, those who take the time to study, they study to show yourself approved. So come on, what are we talking about? So talking about confirmation bias, you have to be careful how you how you unwittingly make your own become a hindrance to your own development. A confirmation bias, it's natural to all of us. Okay? Even when myself, now that I'm talking about it, it doesn't mean every subject I'm really open to change on every subject in my life. Because it's easier to tell somebody to accept change in a subject that you've been able to accept change on. So remember, when you're having difficulty believing new information, albeit factual, albeit proven, that is confirmation bias working against you. Why? Because your brain does not want to do the work of rewiring its learning process. Some information have such a long learning curve, some short. At the end of the day, our brains just want to do one thing and relax. But you see, development, advancement, evolution requires us to work, to imagine, to dream, to improve this entire person being. Okay, so for those who are like, God is doing everything, ever asked yourself, with all the powers God had, why did he give Noah measurements to build a ship? Why didn't he just go abracadabra, ship appear? I mean, he's done that with manna and quail, parting the Red Sea, He didn't tell them to build a ship to cross the Red Sea. He just patted the thing. But for the flooding, he told him the specific measurements. Like, God incorporated physics, zoology, botany into that one thing. He created it. Why couldn't he just recreate? It tells you that what's here You know, even the Bible did say that what's hidden belongs to God, but what is revealed is the glory of the King. There are so many hidden gems in our world that we should spend time discovering what these things are. Our brains, our human beings are like a masterpiece creation, because we are like the only creature who has this high adaptability. Not only do we create problems, but we also adapt to problems. Other creatures have to adapt to the problems that we create, such as climate changes, such as environmental problems, pollution, so many things that we create, and we can uncreate or stop, or fix it. That's why we're like at that top of the food chain. So what am I trying to say about confirmation bias? When it comes to confirmation bias, one has to be careful what you hold on to. Those holding on to their Trumpism, those holding on to their Biden choices, you're not really looking at the goods of both people. You're looking at only the good of yours and only the bad of yours. Confirmation bias works both ways. It's not only comes looking out for the great things, the great qualities in your candidate. Confirmation bias works the opposite way. That means looking for the worst traits in your opponent. Okay, so please understand that nothing human is alien to me. For those who think that Trump is the devil, Trump has angelic qualities in him as well. Why? He is human, okay? Albeit repressed qualities, but every human being has the capacity to do both good and evil. So when we speak strongly for good or strongly for bad, we're simply trying to confirm our bias. And biases are very strong, and biases are somewhat unhealthy because it doesn't give you a chance to look at the full picture. It just helps you narrow things. And this is where we take charge of our brains. If you let your brain dictate to you how you live, completely antisocial, but there's so many things in charge of how we live and breathe and move and exist in this world. So it's important to study what's happening in your brain, in your body as a human being, and be aware of the ways that you can do good and do evil, and make a choice to choose good for the advancement of the species, at least if you're not a Christian. Thank you guys so much. Oh my God, there's a lot to talk about. Congratulations to the president-elect and his Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, first woman of color, first female vice president, first. It's a great thing to have her there, and I wish them the best. And I really hope Trump is able to come to a dialogue. He did some good things and he did some not so good things. It's human nature. Let's not be so quick and harsh with words. Remember, the words, the mercy you deny somebody else, the axe might turn out to be on your neck tomorrow. So don't be so quick to deny mercy to someone. You never know. Tomorrow the axe might be on your neck, and then you're requested for mercy. But you already said there is no mercy in the law. So guys, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next topic of the series. It's interesting. Be on the lookout for it. We are still discussing the psychology of beliefs with regard to religion and general ideologies.